Hugo Marques has had his fair share of chippy matches throughout the event. Very physical athlete. But Dante Leon is no stranger to that sort of gameplay. Hugo pulls guard early here.
Marques won his first Black Belt World Championship NoGi title in 2018. Dante took his in 2019. And in that year, in 2018, the year that Hugo won, he was able to get a win over Dante Leon that year via advantages in a 0-0 match. So they faced off once before in the black belt ranks in the NoGi World Championships. And immediately you see Hugo trying to work the guard game. A little reminder, Hugo Marques.
Oh, look at Dante here.
Coming over the top.
Removing the post aggressively there. Look at the pass, driving it heavy.
Oh, under the guillotine.
Also jumping on the neck.
Nice guillotine
that
choke here. Dante Leon could have this.
Hugo's out though.
Hugo Marques manages to slip his head free. Number of advantages there for Dante Leon. No sweet points for Hugo Marques coming on top. That was very much a result of Dante Leon's guillotine choke, but Hugo Marques had quite the run to get into the finals here, including wins over Levi Jones-Leary in his opening round match. Had a very chippy match with Matthias Luner of Checkmats in a quarterfinal, and a semi-final win against Alexandre Hobinho of Atos. Dante Leon, man, he had a tough road as well. You know, you consider the fact that he had to beat such big names as PJ Barch, Clay Mayfield, and even Paulo da Costa of Atos. So, the middleweight division, always one of the most stacked here at the NoGi Worlds.
Dante scoring the 2 advantages early sets an interesting dynamic for the rest of this match. As Hugo Marques, if there's any criticism of his game, is that he'll get ahead on it by an advantage or by 2 and use that to exclusively dictate the rest of the match. Being behind is something that he's not very much accustomed to, and we may see some elements of a little bit of exaggeration from him come into play, you know, really trying to make things work for him.
That's a great observation, Chase, that Hugo, he's very strategic, is the diplomatic way of putting it. He's very good at getting the points necessary, maintain a lead, and then sticking with it. And when he's down, well, that enforces him to engage more than he may normally might, or he might normally. So he's going to have to come after Dante. To be honest, I feel like that's the kind of match that Dante wants. Nobody wants to be stuck in a stall fest, and Dante prefers somebody to come at him. And there you can see Dante trying to wrestle up. So good at wrestling up. See, this is an aspect of Hugo that is cannot be understated. Again, is that his knowledge of the rules so good, because that moment there when they wrestled up and he pulled his hands back as Dante sat to guard, that meant that Dante pulled guard. Oh, look at this, coming in for
Hugo,
a shot, but into a guillotine.
Hanging on the neck, almost spins to the back. The boundaries here may create an interesting element to our scoring should the scramble go out of bounds.
More of a front headlock than a guillotine choke here. You see Hugo trying to drive down, but Dante able to get his head out without any threat of the submission there. But as I was saying, you know, that Hugo can time it so well that he can force his opponent to get penalties like he did against Dante just a minute ago.
I don't know if you saw the intensity radiating from Hugo Marques on that reset to the center, but he was eyeing Dante like somebody in the way, let's say.
Well, it is just Dante stood between him and his second World Championship gold medal. An obstacle to be overcome. Interesting to note that Dante Leon is a GF team black belt, represents GF team on the world stage. And yet you look to his corner, and Heath Pedigo of Pedigo Submission Fighting, aka Daisy Fresh, is in his corner. Very close relationship with the famous Midwest crew. Nice inversion there from Dante. I'm expecting to see Dante wrestle up again. I know that he, from that shot earlier, that he got stuck in Hugo Marquez's front headlock, but I feel that Dante, his wrestle up game is so good. I don't think he's going to be afraid of what Hugo has waiting for him.
Hugo closing space nicely, forcing Dante to react, but
there's a knee slice attempt.
Dante on a heel
attack, slips out. Marquez not out of danger. Now, we should also make note, Chase, of the fact that both of these men won their NoGi World Championship gold medals in an era when heel hooks weren't allowed. And if there is an edge in experience in one over the other, I would say that Dante has far more experience of competing in tournaments that allow heel hooks than Hugo Marquez.
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely more volume, but Hugo's had his fair amount of time on pro shows where he's seen that experience, and his game fits nicely into avoiding the heel hook. He has a very distance-based game, closing distance when he chooses to, but indeed it's probably not a weapon he would employ himself.
You know, he gets sucked into those deep leg entanglements when you have the multiple threats going on at the same time, and that experience counts because, you know, under pressure, if it's a relatively new thing that you may have learned, it can be the downfall of many a good grappler.
Three minutes left on the clock here.
Yeah, Dante still got that 2-0 advantages lead, and we see a lot of this now. We see a lot of hustle here from Hugo Marquez in diving through, but he does so with little connection. You know, he's diving in for those jumping knee slice passes. He's relying very much on athleticism to try and land into a strong position against Dante. And
I mean, it's a beautiful movement, and we've seen it work throughout this tournament, but
the higher
not
up
in that
the
case
levels
against
you go.
Dante. Exactly. But I like the idea, you know, using his athleticism to force a mistake from Dante. Dante has yet to do that, but that's what's maybe required in this match here. Hugo's still down 2 advantages, but Dante has that lone penalty, so.
Wow, look at this. It's Hugo who's the one who's diving back for an attack.
That looks dangerous, Dante having to consider.
I think the knee is out.
The knee
is just out. It maybe looks like something. He's got the grip of the heel, but yet there's no real twisting going on onto the knee because the knee line is clear. It does force Dante to kick out. So it's an advantage for Marquez. Not necessarily the tightest of leg locks, but that's not always what counts in.
Well, this is interesting now because if Hugo earns a second advantage.
Oh, look at this though. Marquez comes very close to scoring, and now it is even. Now the penalty against Dante Leon is a huge factor. It is 2-2 on advantages. There is 1 penalty against Dante Leon and 90 seconds left in this match, and he has got to get after it. Hugo Marquez could take this one. That diving knee clutch pass that he's employed so many times throughout this match put him closer than ever to a secure inside control. Now Dante Leon is the one who has to make something happen. Has to score, or at the very least get an advantage. Otherwise, he will lose this match with 60 seconds left. Hugo now playing quite an obviously an evasive game. not interested in engaging. He's backing away. He's framing on Dante. Quite clear that he knows that he's got that points lead. He's going to try and ride out the clock at this stage. Good sprawl from Marques. Onto the neck as well. Front headlock. Valuable seconds ticking away. Dante Leon tries to sit out, but oh, look at that! Dummy drag onto the back, but out of bounds. Is it worth an advantage? Is it worth an advantage? Let's see. Oh no, a second penalty against Leon for talking to the referee. We see one side judge calling that one back, but Leon's got less than 20 seconds to score. Drives forward for a double leg. Sprawl there from Hugo Marques. Another super tuck attempt there from Dante Leon, but time runs out. And Hugo Marques takes the win. Only one man could take gold here at the NoGi Worlds, and it was Hugo Marques in this middleweight final.
2021 adult male black belt middleweight champion is Hugo Marques.
Hugo Marques showing off a little bit of some new elements of his game. We discussed his familiarity with the heel hooks, and there he was, racking up that crucial advantage by dropping back on a leg. Great stuff from Hugo Marques.
Yeah, that was smart. Let's take a look at some of the moments from this match here. We saw earlier, this was a moment that Leon almost came close to passing, and then this near guard pass as well, and especially the guillotine sequence as well. The guillotine was tight, probably the tightest submission of the entire match. And then you see, this was the moment when Hugo Marques was able to show that he's got great wrestling counters, stuffing Dante's shots. Those diving knee slice attempts from Marques were always a factor. A loose heel hook attack from Dante Leon, but man, so many big scrambles in this match. Here again is that knee slice pass. Here's the closest one, the one that nearly scored Marques the top position. Let's go over to the podium. There you can see in third place,